Barbara Camp. I am the program director for the Health Meets Food Certified Culinary Medicine Professional certification, and I'm so delighted to welcome all of you here today for the Health Meets Food Culinary Medicine Food Service Roundtable. With a really exciting lineup of speakers, we are going to explore the inseparable relationship between the worlds of food, culinary arts, medicine, health, and healthcare. Our moderator today is Chef Carrie Neff. Chef Neff has been a pioneer in the food and culinary and health arena for decades, from his time at the Miraval Spa in Tucson, Arizona, to the release of his book, Conscious Cuisine, to his tenure as VP of Culinary with Morrison Healthcare. Chef Neff has always emphasized delivering food that is satisfying, full of flavor, but also full of good nutrition. Chef Neff really proves that a skilled chef can create dishes that can be healthful and beautiful without sacrificing flavor, but also delicious without sacrificing health. Before I turn this over to Chef Neff, some quick housekeeping reminders. Your questions will be addressed during the panel discussion at the end after all of the presenters have spoken. So please put your questions or comments in the Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen, not in the chat. So again, in the Q&A tab, put them there at any time. And again, we'll be collecting those questions and sorting them into like categories. So please, in the Q&A box, not in the chat. We will take a short bio break at 12:45, and then we will resume for the panel discussion at 1:15. And now I will turn this over to our moderator, Chef Neff.
Hi, good morning, and thank you very much, Barbara. You know, Barbara, as the Chief Culinary Officer of Conscious Food Solutions, we provide a holistic, strategic approach to addressing the changing needs of today's consumer, creating food service solutions that excite the senses with innovative, appealing, and cost-effective, nutrient-dense foods. And it is my honor today to kick off this very important conference with Chef Daniel Boulud, a world-class chef and restaurateur. Chef Daniel epitomizes innovation, world-class industry leadership, and community activism. Originally from Lyon, Chef Daniel is widely celebrated as one of America's leading culinary authorities. Since arriving in New York City in 1982, he has continually evolved his cuisine and expanded his reach to properties across the US, as well as Toronto, Montreal, Dubai, Singapore, and the Bahamas. His culinary empire has brought him many accolades, yet his inspiration remains grounded in the rhythm of the seasons. From his flagship Daniel to the properties across the globe, Daniel's signature remains Daniel's signature remains the contemporary appeal he brings to soulful dishes rooted in French tradition. In November 2021, Chef Daniel was named Best Restaurateur in the World by La Grande Tables Le Monde. Chef Daniel, please welcome, and looking forward to hearing your presentation today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for having me as an opening speaker to this conference. And congratulations on the work you're doing to elevate also food through health as well. And I want also to congratulate my dear friend Bruno Tisson, who we know each other, Chef Tisson. We know each other for decades, and I've always followed, similar path and other path, but always a lot of admiration for each other. But I'm so happy that Bruno is involved with the subject that is so important. That is, how can you eat healthier and live longer and certainly feel better through food. I think it's very important. I was born and raised in a in a farm near Lyon, and for us, food was the major subject every day on the table, breakfast, lunch, dinner. We didn't have a nutritionist to advise us. We didn't have a chef to cook for us. But we were growing and making everything we were going on the table, from live animals, raising live animals to also growing vegetable, growing grains, making cheese, having dairy product made, and so in a way, our nutrition were very. It was not limited because it was very seasonal. There was a cycle through the season, so there was always something new on the table. But we didn't mind to eat the same thing twice a week, sometime, or 3 times a week, because the harvest was so abundant that we had to eat whatever the harvest was giving. So, we will be eating haricot verts 4 times a week and all that. But the nutrition will keep changing week after week. And I think that is something that has always stayed with me, this sense of seasonality, this sense of market-driven cuisine, and also this sense of locality in a way. I mean, also after growing up with my parents on a farm and having certainly loved the cooking they were doing because that inspired me to be a chef, then I went to do a tour de France with some of the top 2-star and 3-star chefs all over France. I worked in Lyon. I started in Lyon as an apprentice, and in the footsteps of some of the finest chefs there. Then I moved to Burgundy, or south of Burgundy, near where Georges Blanc, a famous 3-star chef, lived. And he was very young, and he was there to transform he inherited of the legacy of his house at the age of 27, and he was there to really make change through food, and try to make even the food a little bit more healthy than his mother that was doing, that made that restaurant famous, and maybe a little bit less cream in the sauce, a little bit less butter in the frog legs and things, but at least he was conscious already. And then I moved to the south of France, Roger Verger, and in Mougins, in the south of France, it was all about cuisine provençale and the art of using olive oil rather than butter and cream, and also to make sauce already emulsify with vegetable and olive oil, and using thickener that was natural because they were made out of ingredients that usually was not used. And also technology helped us make food more healthier, more lighter, more focus on how to make cuisine as tastier and lighter. And also, it was not only the great chef doing that, but they were inspiring home cook at home and institution as well. And then I worked with Michel Guérard, and Michel Guérard is still to this day one of the finest French chefs in France. And he created, and I'm talking about the mid-70s, he wrote a book, Cuisine Minceur, and he created a book. He established his restaurant in a spa in the southwest of France, where his wife owned the spa, and he established his 3-star restaurant there. And in that 3-star restaurant, in the spa, people will go to lose weight. So it was mostly geared to that. And it was not that there was so much obesity in France, but customers will come from all over the world, but they will go there to feel better and to lose weight and to still have gastronomic, flavorful, delicious dishes. And La Cuisine Minceur, I learned through Michel Guérard, and that really installed me into the consciousness of health in food. and how you can still nourish your body very well with very, very delicious food. And so from that, after, of course, I came to New York, and actually my first position at the Plaza Athénée in New York at La Régence, I was doing a menu master at lunch, because I wanted people to come for lunch and make sure that they had the lightest and the freshest, the lightest, and the tastiest lunch menu in town. And I even was mentioning the calories in the menus, and I was not mentioning the fat content and the sugar content, because frankly, it was no fat, basically, very little fat. And so that was my start up into this consciousness of health. And then while I was a young chef at Le Cirque in New York, I also wrote a newsletter called Easy Cooking with Great Chef. And every month I will wrap everything seasonal that month: vegetable, meat, fish, fruits, and I will talk about its nutritional value and its content. Each vegetable, either it's carrot or broccoli or mushroom or whatever the month was bringing, I will talk about this nutritional value, and I will give some sample tips on how to make it delicious and easy at home. And then I will ask a French chef to take all these ingredients and create me a 4-course menu. And then I had also in this newsletter a menu master, which was a low-calorie menu as well. And so all this kept leading me to this consciousness of making sure that our cooking was healthy and inspiring and tasty and seasonal. And not every part of the US has the seasonality of New York City, the 4 seasons, but still you can still play with what other sort of market bring you. And of course, to that, it led me to open my restaurants. And I love to cook French traditional food. And I think we need to nourish ourselves once in a while with indulgence that is good for you, because it is made with very good ingredients. It is made in a very conscious way and a very delicious way. For example, I just opened a bistro in New York called Le Gratin, and the specialty of Le Gratin is quenelle de brochet. And quenelle de brochet au gratin, it's a pike dumpling, I would say, or fish mousse that is poached. So the fish mousse is made with the fish, the eggs, the cream, and a little bit of butter, and then it's poached, and then it's served with a bechamel of milk and mushroom bechamel and covered with cheese. So of course I will not get up every morning and have that for breakfast, but once in a while it's good to make yourself happy with something you are indulging maybe occasionally like this, but you don't want to miss it. And I think life is made of pleasure and is made of consciousness also of health. And never skip the pleasure, but always stay very conscious about health. And I have young. It's always about moderation, of course. And I have young children. I have older children and young children, an older child. And when she was young, we always made a point to have a good nutrition for her. But my wife and my 2 young children, now my wife, Catherine, she studied nutrition in order to start the kids with a proper nutrition. And from the age of 1 to now they are 5 and 8, we're still watching that very carefully. But from the age of 1 to about 2.5, where they start to get solid, she will braise the entire leg of lamb, braised and then with vegetable, and then shred and put and make a sauce with it and with spice, and then shred all that, put the sauce with it, the vegetable, and put it in cubes in the freezer. She will do big batch of spinach, big batch of broccoli, big batch of squash, and fish, meat, and always had Ziploc in the freezer. And she would have a chart in the kitchen and follow a chart religiously to make sure that every day the kids will have something very nutritious and different in taste, because the 3 cube will create 3 different flavor every time, or 4 cubes. And I was so impressed by the way she was managing that and making sure that the kid had taste of everything they could have in life, and yet in moderation and in creative combination. So I continue to be very interested by nutrition, and I know that, for example, Chef Bruno was telling me that he supervised many hospital and menus that are geared toward nutrition. Of course, today we have people with intolerance, and we take that very seriously, and we make sure that it don't matter what intolerance you have or what nutritional challenge you have, there is always a way to eat better, to eat healthier, and to definitely also eat consciously cheaper. You don't have to spend always a lot of money to make a good meal. And one thing myself I love the most, it don't matter if I feel very healthy or if I feel under the weather, is a soup. To me, soup is the most nutritious things you can put in a bowl. And the good thing with soup is you can put cooked vegetable, meat, fish, whatever it is, and then you can add some fresh raw things to it. You can decide to put any kind of grains with it, any kind of grain, any kind of starch, and of course, there's so many possibilities. There's not a single cuisine. There's not a single country. There is not a single chef that don't know how to make soup. But also, soup is really soulful, and it can be the most elaborate or it can be the most simple. But it's always something you can really create something very healthy with a lot of alternative to replace things by. It don't matter if you want to replace cream by yogurt, or if you want to replace butter by something more vegetal, and it's endless possibility. And in my home, when I grew up as a kid, every night we had a soup on the table to start our dinner. So never forget to make a good soup at home, or to anyone you want to make someone. If you want to make someone happy, make him a good soup.
Chef Daniel, thank you so very much. It's just a pleasure listening to you talk and hear your food philosophy of your restaurant and your upbringing and your familiarity of just great food, and showing that conscious approach at the highest level and also at the dinner table. It's just absolutely a pleasure. I see that as in my pleasure of eating, or opportunity that I would like to hear you speak every day, as well as eating inside your restaurant. But I really appreciate you sharing your story of your wife, of how to introduce fresh seasonal ingredients and making sure they're nutrient dense. I'm fortunate enough to have a new grandson that came on board just 9 months ago, and watching my daughter-in-law introduce just new foods every single day. Not only that it helps them not have some type of intolerance, but have them understand the different flavors and different textures and so forth in their early education. So therefore, they have a much greater palate. So thank you so much.
Thank you. No, absolutely. It was very inspirational. And it's very difficult to make a very small quantity for a baby. So it's better to do a big batch and then subdivide it into maybe the next month's nutrition.
Yes. But I felt it was extremely important for you to kick off this conference, showing that, great tasting food that's good for you is not just hospital food, is not something that should be disparaged as saying that is not appealing. You have demonstrated how to make great tasting food, starting with impeccable ingredients, starting with cooking with the seasons, starting with utilizing traditional French culinary training, and also giving homage to some of the masters in the past, as Chef Michel Girard, who created Nouvelle Cuisine, which is the foundation, I believe, as in the new wave of healthy cooking, as in really showing that you can use the fresh seasonal ingredients, making foods lighter, working within the seasons, portion sizing. All of those things are a hallmark within your restaurant. And which I think is just so important that you share at our greatest, or at every single level in the culinary industry, it can be done in a very successful manner, that you can become one of the best chefs in the world. Congratulations, Chef.
Absolutely. And, my parents, God bless, they are 94 years old, both of them. And my mother still cooked for my father and my family every day the way she always cooked all her life. And, never questioned herself if that was healthy or not, but very conscious that what she does make them feel healthy, I think. And there is also in New York or anywhere we are, every time we have a friend, a guest, or someone who don't feel good, we make them a healthy meal. And because if anyone is either have been challenged by health and need some lift, there is nothing more than to lift a spirit and a soul than making a good meal to someone. And we do that often to our guests, to our friends, to our family. And, I think to heal well, you need to eat well.
Yeah. Thank you, Chef. And thank you for reminding our audience and our participants that you can eat well, eat consciously, looking at what your nutrient density is, but also have some great indulgence and doing that in a balanced manner. And it's great to have a food treat. So thanks again, Chef, and I look forward to speaking with you later on our roundtable.
Merci, and congratulations for this roundtable, and have a wonderful day changing the world for a better world on the table. Thank you.
Thank you, Chef.